Alright guys, so today I'm mowing my yard and just pulled the mower out and checking over it, making sure everything's good before I start mowing. I already edged and everything, so it was low on oil, and this time instead of filling it up I decided that I'm going to do an oil change on it. But I thought I'd show you around and show you kind of the things that I look for whenever I'm checking over the mower before I mow. So obviously check the blade, make sure the blade's sharp, not bent or anything. Make sure that the belt, when not engaged, is loose, and when engaged is tight. Make sure you got some gas in there, which I do. Got about a little bit over half a tank, and then obviously make sure your oil's good. So, and then another thing to check is your air filter, which some mowers are different. Also, you can check your shoot, what's that called? Your fuel filter if you want to. It's not necessary every time you mow, but checked my air filter last time I mowed, so I'm sure it's good still. Which, yeah, it's a little bit dirty, but it's a mower, so I don't care. I'm gonna slap that back on and get to changing the oil. So in my mower, on this Briggs & Stratton Powerbuilt 12.5 horsepower motor, the drain bolt is right here below the dipstick, and that's most mowers in general. Now with mine, I have to have a filter, or I mean a funnel right here, or else it will go everywhere. And it's a square bit, but you can just use whatever you got. I just use a 14mm wrench. It works just fine. So I'm gonna crack that open till it's finger loose, and get my funnel all ready. Hopefully it won't go everywhere. And then I'll get my drain bolt out, and then just let it drain out. And I'm going to let this finish draining, and then I'll take you through the rest of the process. Alright guys, so after it's done draining, what I like to do is just take a little towel and clean off the bolt, the drain bolt. Any contaminants it might have gotten while it was out. And after that, go ahead and put the bolt back in. Oh, awesome, my funnel fell. Come on, funnel. There we go. Put that drain bolt back in. There we go, back in. There we go. And then clean up the surface there so it doesn't drip anymore. And tighten it back down. It doesn't have to be super tight, just tight enough. That's good right there. Doesn't have to be super tight. And then I've already taken my dipstick out, so once you got your dipstick up there, put your funnel back up there. Get your 4-cycle, 4-stroke, 2-stroke, whatever kind of oil you want to use, and then you can just pour some in. Doesn't take a lot. About that much is really it. Sorry about that, my phone shut off for some reason, but put the dipstick back in, and it is now to the full mark. So we are good to go. So that's really all I check whenever I'm looking over my mower. I don't really see a point in cleaning it or doing anything like that outside of the air filter, obviously, or the fuel filter. But yeah, that's what I do whenever I service my mower and or check it before mowing. Clean up the little oil that I spilled. Clean up the oil around the area. And that is it. Now I'm ready to mow the lawn. Alright guys, so made a video about 6 months ago or so, 5 months ago, of me changing the oil in my mower, and never posted it. So I went to go mow today, and the engine is now destroyed. So thought I'd throw this in there with that oil change video, kind of show you the state of the engine. The mower came with the house, and it was pretty old, and it was a cheap one, so I was expecting it to blow. I did an oil change after that one that I did in the video, and some metal shavings came out, so I was just kind of waiting for it to blow, but today it finally did. So I just want to show you around the damage and stuff, and then I'll make a separate video about kind of how engines work and why this one failed, and just show you all the components of a small engine. But yeah, so pretty much there's no salvaging it realistically, because a lot of components are damaged. So let's see if I can get this out with my fingers. Oh, nope, doesn't look like I'm gonna be able to, but that's alright. So pretty much, actually I might be able to get it in there. Yep, there we go. Bam. So if you can see inside there, that is annihilated pretty much, and there's a bunch of metal shavings everywhere. Now focus, please. The cams are still intact. But as far as everything else, not so much, really. It's disappointing. It was a good mower, but it is what it is. I was going to rebuild it until I opened it up and saw the extent of the damage. So I don't know if you'll be able to see it from this angle. Yeah, not a chance. Let me tilt it up on its side here. Get the light into position. So So down in the cylinder wall there, it is really scarred up, which isn't a gigantic deal, but that gash in it, and there's one up top as well, is so deep that getting new piston rings wouldn't even solve the issue. I'd have to basically get a new sized piston that would fit it properly and get it machined out, because I can't do that part of it, the machining part of it. So yeah, I'll show you the piston and show you kind of the carnage of the rod here. Oh, it's very hysterical. But yep, there's that. I'm not gonna go ahead and rebuild it. What I might do is buy a new engine, put the new engine in it, maybe, possibly, but it's a far stretch, because the cost of a new engine versus the cost of a new mower is pretty comparable, and yeah, it is what it is. Did routine maintenance, oil changes, checking the oil every time I was about to mow, gas, and clean air. But yeah, I'm gonna take this as a learning experience and not as a bad thing. I'll show you guys kind of how engines work and all that stuff. Now, this mower compared to, or this motor compared to like an actual vehicle motor is they work the same, as in it's a combustion engine, gas, spark, combustion, all at the right time, but the timing on this motor is literally dead simple, and there's only one piston, there's one camshaft, two lobes, two valves, intake and exhaust valve. I guess I could show you the cam and the cam gear here, which did survive. They didn't really get that scarred up, so this is still usable. All the teeth are totally fine, and the lobes are fine, and the actual cams themselves are also fine. Or I mean, the actual valves themselves are fine. It was mainly just that piston damage was the main thing. And whenever I pulled it apart, I was like, okay, I might be able to get a new rod and repair it, but then I cleaned it up and saw all the other damage, and I was like, it's not even worth the effort. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the motor. So I'll make another video probably in a week or two, once I get a new motor, and I might film putting the new motor in the mower and doing all that stuff if I decide to. If I don't make a video, then most likely I got a new mower altogether. But yeah, one way or another, I'll show you how combustion engines work, and I'll show you how to time this motor, even though it's super simple. And then in a couple weeks, I'm going to do a timing belt on the Miata, and I'll show you how to do a timing belt on a 4-cylinder, which is, this is dead simple. Timing belt on a car is not this simple, but it's not very hard depending on the vehicle. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this oil change disaster, I guess you could say, even though that oil change video was 5-6 months ago. Yeah, thanks for watching, and see you next time.